Junkie Nation, what's going on? Gorgeous George and Goes deliver another MMA superstar. This time it's former Strikeforce light heavyweight champ and current Bellator light heavyweight champion, middleweight champion, Gegard Mousasi. What's up, Gegard? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's hard to keep track because you won all them titles at Dream. I think you were a champ there, Cage Warriors. You've definitely been strapped a lot. And you fought at heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight. So it's hard to keep track of you.
Yeah, just trying to keep busy. But middleweight is, where I like to stay. But light heavyweight is in the future. But I have to beat John Salter, maybe another middleweight, and then we go up to light heavyweight.
Well, that's good news then. Okay, I thought for some reason I heard you were getting ready to wind down your career. How many fights do you have left?
7 or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's good. Why is everyone laughing then?
Yeah, with this pace, I will not make 7 fights. If I fight once a year, this Corona pandemic hasn't been good to me. I'm fighting once every 10 months or something like that. So it's I just have to see how things will go.
If they feed you fights, you'll keep fighting for the next couple years?
Yeah, especially I want to keep busy, but this happened, this pandemic. If it wouldn't happen, I would have got maybe 2 more fights in it, but it is what it is.
I think you should have been in that light heavyweight tournament.
Yeah, but even if I would have won, listen, they asked me to fight in the light heavyweight tournament, but first of all, I wasn't, there were too much advantage to my opponents. I have to fight every guy who's 20 pounds heavier than me. And even if I wanted, I had the injury and I had some personal issues. I wouldn't even made the fight.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I've seen you fight since the early 2000s, and you even got in there with Mark Conn. A lot of people probably don't even remember that just because the sport is getting older and older, but that was a gangster win right there. To submit the big guy.
Back then, I didn't mind fighting anybody because I fought 2 times in K1 heavyweights. They gave me Japanese fighters, but they wanted me the Japanese fighters, of course, to win. But I won, of course. But back then I would fight anybody for because I wanted to get paid. Nowadays I want to fight, but I don't have to risk everything anymore because I think I took my risk when I was younger.
What do you think was the most blatant thing you ever heard in terms of that? Because you're right, I've heard it all the time that back in the Pride days, they definitely wanted the Japanese fighters to win. They would create matchups at the last moment. They would conveniently make certain matchups to favor them. But did you ever hear or see anything like that? Or was that just the feeling every fighter carried?
Well, in Japan, like you would 3 weeks before the fight, you would know who your opponent was, with me, of course, they always beginning. They always match me sometimes with Japanese fighters because at that time I wasn't also that good, so they thought he's gonna lose. So I understand. You're fighting somebody in their home country, so they want the home country guy, the guy from their country to win, of course.
One thing you did, this is maybe going back 5-7 years, was invest, your money wisely. I remember seeing something with your brother buying new homes. Did that continue to grow or?
Well, there's nothing to buy anymore because no one is selling, at least not in Holland. The real estate market is gone up, so I'm richer. But I got richer in the Corona time. But, nothing to buy anymore. They're so expensive.
I've been to Holland. So are you more of a suburbs guy or you got some property there on the canals in Amsterdam?
No, not in Amsterdam. Everything is in my own city. It's restaurants, bars, cafes. And then up, we loan it to the students where we milk them for their money.
Jesus, slow down, Oh man, so you've done real well in real estate then, huh?
Yeah, I began young. I bought my first house when I was 20, 21. The market wasn't that good. We were buying as much as we could, and it's paying off now.
Very cool. All right. Well, you got John Salter ahead of you. And again, no disrespect to him, but you've been in this game so long and you fought so many different names. How do you continue to get up for it? Is it the belt? Is it I mean, I don't think your money's tied into win bonus anymore. You probably get it all at once. So what's the biggest motivation?
Well, I still fight. I'm still a prize fighter. If they don't pay anybody, nobody's gonna show up. So that's first thing. And then I always, one thing I credit myself if I would say is I've been in the top of the MMA game for 20 years. Since when I was 20, 21, I was fighting in Pride. Always been always been in the top 10 of the middleweights. So I just need to do my job. And sometimes it goes up and down in motivation. And I messed up, but I've been here. I know what I have to do to win.
Gegard, if you look at your last 10 opponents, it's a who's who of MMA. When you look at John Salter, do you feel like he matches up with those guys? Is there anything that he brings that you feel like maybe you haven't seen in a while?
Well, I think John Salter hasn't fought big names where you can say okay, but I think if he's fighting for the belt, he will step up maybe 20% up. Is better. Is more motivated, and I think he's confident in his style to think that he can beat me because he's a grappler, a wrestler. So a guy like that you always have to take serious, and he has beaten everybody in front of him. He's finished everybody. So I don't need to have a big name to be motivated. Every opponent is a different style, different. They bring different things to the table. It's just the opponent. So I take him seriously, and I don't see any difference against him or if I fight. Let's say if I would fight John Jones, let's say it's just still a fighter, and who comes to win.
Is there a matchup? We've talked about how you've fought pretty much all over the world. Is there a matchup that eluded you that one day, like you just wish you would have fought this one person?
No, but I would have loved to fight, let's say, Israel Adesanya. Would have been nice, because he's the number one guy now. No, that would have been fine. But, just to go and mention his name in interviews is not realistic and it's never going to happen. So it's, So, but maybe boxing I would have loved to do once, but we will see.
Well, shit, I was going to say you fought everybody. I mean, seriously. I mean, except for Bruce Lee and Mike Tyson. You pretty much hit everyone else and grabbed a belt everywhere you went. You pretty much have no regrets in this sport.
No, not at all. Not at all. I did maybe do to everyone is doing boxing now, so I wouldn't have mind to do also a boxing fight. But I still am 36. I just turned 36, so maybe that's also in the future. To do one boxing fight to get it also done. It's now popular nowadays.
I think if I recall, you even were one of the 3 fighters that I remember back in the day that had beat a K1 fighter in K1 in kickboxing. So, you've kind of been able to even bleed into other combat sports, dabble in there and have a little bit of fun. What about bare knuckle? Is that something that you watch?
Yeah, I see it on Instagram, and it's usually fighters that are retired or, and you go there, you go, if I retire, I'm not going to do bare knuckle fight. It's just too much damage, too much,
Hey, listen, I know you got your Bellator middleweight belt to defend this Friday on Showtime, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. But it's been a while. I just want to ask you one last question before we let you go. Collectively, are you happy with the decision that you made going to Bellator? Did they deliver everything that you wanted? Because I know that was something that caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah, 100%. The only thing I would say is just the lack of fights during this Corona time, and then. One time before I came here, I got injured with Alexander, and then contract negotiation, and then another contract negotiation. It's been a lack of fighting, and then this Corona pandemic. So that's the only thing I would say. I would have liked to be more busy. But other than that, I'm very happy. You know, I have a good relationship with Scott, and it's always been like that.
Can't wait for this Friday. You know, it's you versus Salter. I think he's finished all but one of your 47 wins. You finished 38. So I don't think this one's going to the judges. 25 minutes is too long for you two guys. Gegard, thanks so much for doing this interview on Fight Week. Good luck, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.